Welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Access, the biz side of video production. I am Max Kaiser from Pipeline, the video production management platform that you've always dreamed of having. You can find it at videopipeline.io. I am here also with my partner in crime, Jake Rorda.
Hey, I'm Jake, also from Pipeline.
Hey, and today we have an extraordinarily special guest, Blake Barnett from Blare Media. You probably have heard of Blare Media because they probably outrank you on a search engine somewhere. But they've got 10 locations, which is just incredible. They have 6 in California and 1 in Nevada, 1 in Washington, 1 in Texas and Arizona. They offer all kinds of services, aerial, live, social, as well as your core video production services. They just truly have shown a way to scale beyond the confines of what many of us think of for our production companies. So we just thought it would be really fascinating to get Blake on, talk about scaling, talk about marketing, and help give us some ideas for how we can take those things to the bank. So Blake, nice to see you.
Hey, Max. Hey, Jake. Thanks for having me. And wow, what an intro. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Blare and how things got started, or how they got started for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in business since 2005. And how it started was I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I had like a limousine company and I had more time than money. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to create this TV show, local TV show, and then I'm going to get advertisers. And then I'm going to put a commercial for my limousine company on there. And so I was doing all this work to do this. And then I found out like I had way more fun doing the video side than the actual limousine company. And I ended up meeting my business partner because I was trying to do this all myself and not knowing what I was doing at all, more of the marketing business side. And so I met Justin, who's my business partner. And I'm like, why am I doing this part? Like, let's just form a company. And then so we formed Blare Media. And that's how it's been since 2005.
And what kind of work did you get started with? What were your sort of core things?
Okay, so when we first started, Justin was doing a lot of wedding videos because that's what he was doing. He was doing some music video stuff, but I'm like, man, let's do some TV commercials, guys. And so this was like kind of pre-internet. I think the internet existed, but it wasn't like it is today. And so I was just knocking on doors. Like I would just go out, and I came from a sales background. I came from like the phone book background. So I'm like, I just would go to places. I'd go to used car lots, and I'm like, hey, we want to get, you want to get a commercial, and I'll go in there with my DVD player that they would have back then, and I'd play them some stuff, and they're like, wow, that's really cool, and I'll do a commercial for them for $500, and that's how that started.
So let's fast forward then to today. Tell us about where Blare is today. Like, what are your revenue numbers? Who are you working with? Give us some just idea of where you are.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we haven't actually broke $1 million yet. We've been really close, and like year after year, we're like. And so what I decided recently was like, forget $1 million. That's where we're not gonna. Let's forget that. Let's go 5 million. And so since that I've changed that mindset. Like this might be the first year we break $1 million.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for a long time, we and the thing is we grew really quick in the beginning. Like we got up to 300,000 in like the first, year or 2 or 3, and then 500,000. And then our goal was, even then our goal was $1 million. Like since day one, like we got to, get to $1 million. And so 15 years later, we still haven't broken $1 million. But yeah, this year we're on track.
That's so cool. And so so one of the things that is truly different about Blare is that you have multiple offices. Not many of us do. How did that start?
Yeah, that started because we were advertising in the phone book, and then we're realizing like that's the wave of the future is the internet. And so one of my friends was, web developer and was doing a lot of like SEO stuff. And so like he's a good friend. So I'd go to his office all the time to swing by and like pick his brain. I'm like, what are you doing? How do you do this? And like every week I'll like learn something new and I'll get tricks. And so for a while we started out in Fresno, California. And so we would own like 8 of the 10 listings on Google. So if you type in Fresno video production, 8 of those would be us. It might be like a YouTube video or some other website that we had us on there, but we were represented and we weren't getting enough business. And so I'm from the Bay Area. I came down to go to Fresno State. And so I'm like, hey, let's start it's a bigger city. Let's just start marketing in San Francisco and San Jose. And like, that was gangbusters for us because and it's only a 2.5 hour drive. And so once we started doing that, and then one of our guys moved to San Jose, we had like little satellite San Jose office for a bit. That was great. And we're like, hey, this is working really well. Let's do this in other cities. And so we, over time, we just started expanding.
Yeah, well, I can personally vouch because I competed with Blare at my old company, Handcrank, for Seattle space all the time.
And I can give you a story how Seattle started. Seattle started because we had an employee move from Seattle to Fresno, and he worked for us. And then worked for us for about a couple of years. And then he was like, you know what? I'm homesick. I want to move back to Seattle. I'm like, hey, you're moving back to Seattle. We could do business up there. And so, boom, we just started doing marketing in Seattle. And next thing you know, that was when you could just buy videoproductionseattle.com and rank number one.
Yep.
You can't do that anymore. And so we don't rank as good as in Seattle as we did like many years ago. I think we're on the second page, but our other site, our Shoots.Video site, is on the first page.
Right.
So would you say that your reasoning behind doing that was to scale, but to scale in places that you were close to, even if you weren't physically in?
Yeah, we needed to have some sort of representation because clients didn't want to come to us, to our office. They didn't want to take time out. They're busy people. They didn't want to come take time out of their day, come to our office, have a meeting. They always wanted us to go to them for a meeting. And so the office is kind of was like a weird thing to even care about. Unless
you're going to go to San Francisco anyway. Why not just say that you're in there?
Yeah. And so the vast majority of time we're always going to them and meeting with them, and they never actually see us. Even till today, they never want to come visit us, but it's very rare. They might swing by to pick up a hard drive, have someone do that or something along those lines. But for the most part, I've some of our biggest accounts I've never even met.
Yeah.
And they're my account.
Yeah.
So I just met an account. It was an ad agency, and they're based out of Virginia. And we've been doing business with them for like 5 years. I just met them this year.
That's just so fascinating. And it speaks to being willing. And this is something in our business you have to be willing to do. And that is throw away any rules. There are no rules. And you have to go with what works every time. Right. And I mean, it sounds to me like you just sort of followed the thread of what was working for you. And said, and now it's just such a unique business model, but it really works.
Yeah, you have to try different things. Like when you're an entrepreneur, you try different things, see what works. And like we tried trade shows, we tried advertising on TV, like you name it, we've tried it, and we're like, we don't get the same result.
Right. Yeah. So how do you manage these different offices? I think would be one question certainly for me. We had 2 offices in my old place, and I couldn't imagine having any more. And so how do you all share the same portfolio? You all share the same like website design and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, we use Slack to kind of keep track and see where we're at. And we have like sales managers that handle certain territories. So if leads come in for certain, territory, like, hey, we know who to assign it to. And then we use HubSpot for that. We, on our contact forms, and we can just quickly assign it to the right person. And then management wise, it's mostly just task driven. We could really be located anywhere.
Right.
I mean, the only problem with being anywhere is we're not quite there with like editing wise to get files over from one place to the other. That's still kind of a pain to get large files. Yeah. And so we typically like to have the local team edit it as much as possible. But even then we end up mailing footage back a lot.
Right. Do you have like a salesperson in every office and a producer, or is that person that's in every office?
I wouldn't say it's straight that way, because there's one person that handles multiple territories. And then we'll have a producer that is there, but they might go someplace else. Like we do a lot of mix and matching of depending on the project. Like sometimes our producer in Fresno will, go out of the country normally, but out of the state, just depending, because the client has a good connection with them and they would just want them to go there. So it's really not even location driven. We try to get as many locals as possible just to save on costs. But it's really mix and match depending on how the situation happened. And it's really a personal connection with our clients. And so, yeah.
As far as the marketing is concerned, is it still really SEO driven?
Yeah, I mean, we have returning clients, but I don't think we've ever gotten work from social media. We have received some requests, but we also we're not very good at marketing on social media either.
Yeah, it never worked for me. I never could get it to work for Hand Crank. And I see other production companies trying it and spending a fair amount of money, and frankly, AdWords never really worked that well for me. It was always organic search that.
Yeah, I have AdWords did work for us for a little bit, and I think that might have been me just being lazy. But because we were doing a lot of SEO, and then also Google for a while was just really, their algorithm was really hard to understand. And I just couldn't seem to be making any kind of headway. Like all my usual tricks and tactics weren't getting the job done. And I was like, man, okay, Google AdWords it is. And so I did that for a while until like we were paying, I think at the time, like $3,000 to $4,000 a month with Google AdWords. And I'm like, and we started with like 500, we started 500 a month. And then then it worked its way up to like 3,000 or 4,000 a month, maybe even like 5,000 on some heavy months. But we're like, okay, we gotta stop this. And so I went back to my roots, and SEO seemed to be a lot easier. It seemed to settle itself down again. And so my usual, I mean, not everything still is the same, but most of the main things are still the same. It's all you need to have unique content. You need, content's queen and distribution is queen. And that's typically and you need some backlinks still, even though people like frown on backlinks, it's still a thing.
And I would imagine having 8 or 10 different sites for yourself and being able to cross-reference between those gives you an awful lot of domain authority as well.
It does. We're actually trying to get rid of all of our extra sites because it's just a lot of headache to manage. And it's not as necessary as it used to be. We used to make sites specific, like we would make one just for Seattle. And it was because we could just make the whole site Seattle based and like change everything. And like Google really liked it. Now Google seems to really like a bigger site. And so you can get more, we can show up better with our bigger site in multiple locations where that just we couldn't seem to make that work before.
Yeah. So when it comes to SEO, I know a lot of folks I talk to, they would always ask me, Max, how did you guys get some of these sales? And I would say, well, Amazon found us on Google. Google found us on Google. and,
sure.
and they would say, well, how did you get started with SEO? And I said, well, first I read this big fat book and I worked on it for about 2 weeks when I realized I was seriously outgunned. And I hired a guy who was just very, very capable. And he got us in those top 3 rankings. That was my way of doing it. How did you figure it out? And what would you say to someone today who they've got a website and do they need to start creating tons of blog articles? What is it that one needs to do to start ranking for SEO in the ways that would help them with their marketing? I mean,
it depends. If they're local and they're doing SEO for their local market, then they should focus on local SEO, which 100% can mean just like Google Places. You want to go on there, you want to fill it out completely. You want to add pictures, you want to add content like on an ongoing basis. And in that way, Google starts like, oh, this company is updating their stuff, and they start putting you in the top 3. And now you're going to start getting business that way. That's like low hanging fruit for a lot of production companies just aren't doing. Google Places, number 1 easiest thing to do it. And then I would say join directories. Like there's like Clutch, there's UpCity. They let you have a free listing for your location, for one location. Actually Clutch lets you do multiple locations. But yeah, you would want to join a lot of different directories. But if you're looking at like your actual website and SEOing your website, you're going to have to either learn or pay someone. And so that's a different thing. And it takes some time. Like I've tried to teach SEO to some people, and some people just aren't willing. Yeah. So they're just like, forget it. I don't want to do it. And some people pick it up. Like the one, I had a good friend who worked for us. And then I taught him SEO, and he's the one who did the Seattle. And so his name was Burke. His name was Burke. And so if you could have took Burke out of the picture back then we wouldn't have been competitive in Seattle. Yeah. He 100% was responsible for Seattle back then.
That's so cool. And now going back to, I think they're just two really interesting things here, and they're so interesting the way they combine, and that is your unique marketing methods, and then your unique structure. How do you, I asked about how you manage the team, but how do you work out this sort of hierarchy of the team, in terms of like, do you creatively review everything the team does, or does each office operate pretty independently? How does that work?
Well, it's typically a collaboration between who worked, like say their producer worked on the project, and who might be the same person who's like the account manager for the project, depending on the situation. So they'll be involved on the workflow, and then our lead editor would be always overlooking the projects, and if he's working on it, then Justin will typically provide feedback as well. And so we kind of all look at it as a team. Like I look at a lot of I think I look at almost every single video that we do, and I look at it. I don't always give feedback because there's normally enough feedback already from our guys, but we're a team effort here. Like it's not, we don't have this hierarchy, like this person's responsible for that, but like we're really not very structured, and not in a bad way, like in a good way. Like we kind of have a synergistic relationship, all of us together help each other out.
What do you use for your video review software?
We use Wipster, which I had Justin complains about Wipster, but then he also checked out Frame.io, and then he complained about Frame.io. And so I just think that, no one's going to, ever be 100% satisfied. There's always things that you want different. But we got in Wipster really early, and our rate is really low. And so there's no reason for us to leave. Actually, Frame.io called us because I'm like, I'll learn more about what you guys are up to and something. And he basically wanted to get off the phone with me just because I told him what we were paying. And he's like, there's no way that we could offer you anything. You should stay where you're at. Yeah. That's what he told me. Yeah. So we used to use a service before that called takeoffvideo.com. And that was the first review service, and those before Frame.io and before Wipster.
Isn't it funny how some of those don't make it, and then when like Frame.io just blows up into this?
This totally blew up. So there's only 3 that everybody's kind of starting to offer their versions of that, but there's really only 3 players to me. And then Vimeo became a player from Wipster. They were teaming up for a bit, and then. And the Vimeo kind of just went their own way.
Vimeo can be a good deal just because you probably might be already paying for their business package for like $500 or $600 a month, and then you get it for free. So,
I don't know. I've never really used the Vimeo's review tool, and so I'm not sure, because we tried to use their live streaming tool, and we just weren't happy with it. It just didn't quite. There was too much of a delay, and so. But we were thinking about if we did like it, then maybe we would get rid of Wipster and use Vimeo's review tool if we liked their tool. But it didn't get that far.
Yeah, it's good. It just doesn't have good foldering and structuring for your projects, which I imagine for you folks would be a real pain. So that was. But they're working on Vimeo. Also is now worth zillions and doing tons of stuff. So, well. Jake, did you have any other questions? Because I mean, this has just been amazing. If I would have had some of this insight early on, it's killing me.
I was just going to ask, what do you see as the next method for scaling past 1 million? Is that brick and mortar? Is that more online presence? Is that what is it?
The way that we are going to get to $5 million, Jake, is our Shoots.Video. Basically, it's a directory website, and what's happening is you're going to see SEO is going to get really hard for production companies to be on standalone to show up on the search results. And what you're going to see is you're going to see Clutch, you're going to see Upcity, you're going to see Design Rush. And so I saw that happening, and I'm like, well, and back in 2016ish, but we really launched in 2018. But I saw that happening, and I was like, no way I can compete with these guys. And this is too strong, and they have all this user-generated content. And so that's why we created Shoots.Video, so that we can compete head to head and show up and across the country, really. The thing is, I'd like to share that wealth with other production companies and offer right now we're offering for free. So if there's other video production companies and we're not in that area, we can't cover the whole country. I mean, we're stretched thin as it is, and we have we're just on the West Coast base. So I've been hitting up a lot of other production companies, in like New York and Boston and Miami. And I'm showcasing their listings for free, and I'm pushing those to be up on the top of the search engines. And hopefully we can help each other out. Like they'll send us business, we'll send them business. I'm not, I'm open to just seeing how we can network together and all grow together.
So your goal is to get the directory on the front page if it's not already, and then you, the video production company, to appear on that directory. Correct.
And then, we have a little more control over that too. With Clutch, we don't. They could raise the rates, we could do stuff. And I think when I was looking at Clutch, it was like $250 per location. And so when you have 10 locations, that's $2,500.
Thanks. Yeah.
So I was like, man. And so that's when I started doing the math when I saw it happening.
Back up for 1 second. Tell us a little bit about Shoots.Video, because we haven't really hit on that at all. So can you break that down a little bit? Because this sounds amazing.
Yeah. Shoots.Video started out because we were doing work with a lot of different vendors, and it was hard for us to remember who they were. And would have to pull up old like invoices and paperwork. And I was like, because we used someone 3 years ago, but like that person was great, but no one can remember their name. And we had a spreadsheet that we created, and that was just really noisy. So we created like a CRM basically for our vendors. And I think we did that around like 2016. And then 2018, my thoughts were like, hey, this is a really good tool. Why are we hoarding this resource? Others should be able to use it. And I'd love for our vendors to get booked by other production companies or agencies. Like there's no reason for us to, we only use them every so often anyways. And so I'd much rather share the resources. And the other reason is when we had to hire people, we would go to like the production hub in Mandy, and they didn't have a review system. And so we had to vet them from scratch. And so our idea was like, well, we can write reviews, and we can write basically notes about who we like and why we like them. And then others can do the same. And so I don't know if Production Hub and Mandy started it. I don't think Mandy has. I'm not sure about Production Hub, but I don't know why they're not doing that. If you're listing Production Hub and Mandy, it's a no-brainer. Like add some sort of review system. So because like it's really a referral system in our industry. I'm not sure why that's not super clear. Like when we book people, like, hey, who do you refer? Like, that's just how it happens. Like we normally go through our Rolodex of like, oh, call John, see if he can refer us to anybody. But then when that doesn't work, then you go on Facebook and you do the same thing. You're like, hey, can anybody refer me somebody here? And so that's the way things really work. You don't go to some website and just like book some guy that you never worked with before without any referrals. You need that. And so we really wanted to build that in there for everybody. And so that's how it started. And then while that was happening, I saw Clutch in Up City, and I'm like, okay, let's just make this a directory and compete for these key phrases. And then hopefully we can, help out the industry in that way, help ourselves obviously as well.
Yeah, that is fantastic, man. That is really cool. And I remember one thing you mentioning, and that is that you were saying that for your team, the bricks and mortar approach really is not what you're looking for. You really don't have physical buildings for your offices and so forth.
We just don't have the need. If the need was there, we would.
Yeah.
The need's not really there. I mean, I think what's the growth of our industry is there's less of that. Yeah. I think at like a small, like when you're first, if we were first starting out right now, we wouldn't get an office. I mean, right. We'd get a place to store gear if it wasn't in our like garage in our house. Yeah. We'd probably like even now today, I think it makes more sense to buy an office house. So you can have a place to store gear. But a lot of these solopreneurs that are, act as like maybe like a production company, it sounds like a production company, they have a business name. They're really a dude with gear at their house.
Yeah. It's a little sad, right? Because we grew up I don't know about you, I grew up in the 80s, and the cool thing on TV to work at was a video production company with the exposed brick and the neon sign. Yeah. And that's the vibe I always wanted.
Well, Max, we do have exposed brick in our office.
Well, there you go. So you do have an office too.
Yeah. I'm in my office right now, but it's not necessary. Like I could work from home most of the time. I like to go on work vacations and work, remotely. But I think one office for us is required, then like maybe a satellite, but it's not. When you're first starting out, like we thought we needed one when we first started out to like be respectable, but you don't. Yeah, it's so different now. If we start out now, we've been more focused on buying gear than getting an office space.
That's a really cool tip. Yeah.
Yeah. This has been just a cavalcade of great tips. And you speak so quickly and are so efficient that we kind of got through everything we needed to. But I just want to tell people, go to Shoots.Video, get yourself signed up on there, because clearly, I mean, that's an easy play. And check out Blare Media, because these folks are way ahead of the curve on getting business in ways that many of us don't think about. Many of us walk around complaining, why don't I have it? There's a lot of different ways to do it. So Blake, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. And any last words?
No, I was going to say, if you're going to join Shoots.Video, it's for freelancers and for companies, all of the above.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you both having me. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Jake. Good times.
Thanks for letting us talk to us.
Thanks very much. All right. Well, we'll see you folks at the next podcast. Thanks a lot.